more videos and updates like this, please like, share and subscribe my channel. Today again we are going to discuss about policy configuration on FortiGate firewall. Why I used again? Because in last two videos we saw how to create policy on FortiGate firewall, but today's our task is little bit different. Today we are going to configure the policy, but that is going to be user based policy. Okay, so this is the topology we used for last two videos to configure our multiple type of policies on FortiGate firewall. We are going to use the same topology to configure user based policy on FortiGate firewall, and we are going to see how it is going to work. So let's move on like our lab part. Basically what we are going to do, let me just tell you quickly. We do have some of our LAN subnets with some of LAN PCs. We'll try to communicate these LAN PCs towards internet with the help of user based policy on our FortiGate firewall. So I explained you multiple times, whenever we are going to configure a policy on FortiGate firewall, we need some pre-configurations: interface configuration, DNS configuration, routing configuration and NAT configuration. Then the policy is coming in picture. So we already have these all configurations on our firewall, so we are going to concentrate on our policy creation. Okay, how we are going to create the policy on FortiGate firewall, user based policy, and how it is going to work. Okay, if we are going to talk about last video, we achieved this task. We created a policy based on source IP address, based on source MAC address, and based on source IP address plus source MAC address. There was one single rule in which we allowed MAC plus IP both. Yeah, but today what we are going to do, we are going to create a user-based policy, and we are going to allow our all host towards internet. Which all host? These are the all host: WinLAN 2, VPC LAN 2, VPC LAN 1, and WinLAN 1. We are going to allow all these four hosts through our FortiGate firewall towards internet in a single policy. This is our first task, and if we are going to talk about the second task, we are going to allow one user at a time for internet. Like we'll allow WinLAN 1, and we'll see whether if we are creating a policy for WinLAN 1, whether the other users are also reachable to internet or not. That we are going to see in our lab part. Okay, so let's move on. I'll Let me just show you what IP we do have on our firewall, then I'll move on firewall GUI to configure these things and show you in the lab. So to get the IP, I already told you multiple times, just run the command show system interface question mark, and here we are on port 1. It is in DHCP, and we got the IP 192.168.33.190. So I already have that particular IP here in my browser, and you can see there is login page for our firewall. Let me log in. So ID is admin and password is 123. You can set whatever you want. So this particular FortiGate firewall we used in our last video as well. This was the firewall we used in our last video as well. So there is some pre-configured rule. Let me just show you in policy, firewall policy. Here we go. Let me do one thing. Let me just quickly delete this. Then we'll move on our today's lab. So I deleted that policy. Let me go to addresses as well. And I do have host 1, host 2 Mac. Let it be. Uh, you guys are already aware of how to create addresses, right? I'll tell you at the time of policy creation. Okay, so what is our first task? Our first task is to allow these all LAN PCs towards internet through our FortiGate firewall with the help of user-based policy. So let's see how we can create a user-based policy. To create a user-based policy, first what we need, we basically need a user, right? So to create a user on our FortiGate firewall, just like where you have to visit, you have to go to the section user authentication, and there is an option user definition. Okay, so I'm clicking on that, and here you will get there is an option to create new user. Just click on that and you will get multiple options here. Let me just show you. We can create local user, we can create remote radius user if like radius is implemented in your environment. If TechAx is implemented, you can use this one. LDAP, you can use FSSO, 40 NAC user. So these are the things. These are the below one you can see now. These are all the remote one. I mean, remote one means like we need a external server like a radius server to implement with this with like this firewall with that particular radius server. Then we can use this particular feature. Similarly for TechAx, LDAP. So we are not going to use the I mean the below ones. We are just going to create a local user here and we are going to perform our lab. To perform lab based on these below radius user, TechAx user, and LDAP user, we need an external server like radius servers, TechAx server, LDAP server. So we'll see these topics in detail in upcoming video. For now, just like forgot this. So what we are going to do, we are going to create a local user. Okay, so it's already by default selected. You can like select remote radius. So I'm going to select why like we are going to implement based on local user. So I'm going to select local user. Just click next. And here it is asking what will be the username and password. So I'm putting user h1. Okay. Or if we are going to simplify, you can put anything. Test user. Let me put test user 1 and the password will be 123. Okay, just click next, and if you want you can allow two-factor authentication as well, but for that we need to implement 40 token cloud and 40 token with this. So we don't need, as we are going to perform the lab. So uh, I believe like you guys are already aware what is two-factor authentication. So right now I'm not going to implement that. That is a extra layer of security. Okay. So just click next and user account status. What you need, you can enable, you can if you want you can disable that particular user as well. But right now we want to enable that particular user. And I don't want to like be part of any user group. This user is going to be a separate user, not a part of any user group. So click on submit. Here you can see test user 1 we created, and what is this? This is a local user. Okay, let me do one thing. Let me create one more user, and that is going to be test user 2, and the password is going to be 123. Let me click next. Two-factor authentication we are going to disable. User account status, that's fine. Just submit. So see, there is two user. Let me do one more thing. One more time, I'm creating test user 3 and the password is 123. Next, next, submit. Okay, so here we do have three users. So our first step is completed. What's next? Let me just do one thing. Let me just log in on our local PCs and try to access internet first before implementing any policies. Okay. Let me log into the other PCs as well. Here we are. So why I logged in before that, before implementing the policy, let me just show you the IP configuration is already there because we used the same topology in last lab. Okay, see 10.10.10.10 and our gateway is dot 100. Okay, similarly, if we are moving on LAN 2, let me just show. Here we are. Okay, let's try to ping Google DNS or global DNS and see if that is reachable or not. On LAN 2, here we are getting request timeout. Let me try on LAN 1 as well. 8.8.8.8 dash I mean, I'm just like trying to do a continuous ping. So we'll see how the response is getting changed after applying the policy. So see, on LAN 1 and LAN 2, on both we are getting request timeout. What I'm going to do, I'm going to create a policy. I'm just going to create a policy, and that policy is going to be based on user 1. With the help of user 1, I'm going to allow these all LAN subnets for internet reachability. Let's see how we can create. So for that, for policy creation, we have to go in the section policy and objects. Just click on firewall policy, and here we do have only implicit deny that is coming by default. So currently it is going to deny each and everything whatever packet it is going to receive. So I'm going to create a new policy, and that is going to be our LAN to ban user waste. Okay, and we can specify test user 1. What will be our incoming interface? So we are using zone. I believe the zone concept is already clear to you guys. I already covered. Just go on that. What zone here doing? Well, like what is the role of zone? It's just combining two particular ports. Why we are calling of zone LAN? Because if we are going to see, we have created like two separate subnets in our LAN zone, and we are going to, I mean, we need both interfaces in a single policy. That's why we created a zone and we combined these both interfaces in a single zone. I believe it's clear. So what is the outgoing interface? We are trying to reach out towards internet. So exit interface is going to be port 1, and that is going to be our WAN. Okay, WAN plus management. What will be the source? So here is the main trick. We are going to allow a policy based on users. So just click on this, and after clicking on this, you can see there is a option. What is that option? So that is a option coming in like a select entries, and there is a user option. You have to select that user, and let's see what we are getting. So after selecting this particular option user, here we are getting the users which we created currently, right? So what is our target? Our target is to allow all these PC with the help of user based policy. And what particular user we are going to allow? So we are going to allow test user 1. So after allowing that test user 1, see, I'm going to like especially give attention on this particular section. We already allowed test user 1, but here what, like this particular rule is asking for one address group or external resource or internet service is required. Where? In this particular source. Why? Because like you already allowed the user, but for which particular source you are going to allow this particular user, you have to say. So what I am going to say, for this time I am going to allow all, for all particular sources. And what will be the destination is going to be all, and the services is going to be all. Action is going to be accepted. Inspection mode is like flow based. We'll discuss this. What is flow based and proxy based? NAT is by default enable. Here is security profiles. We'll learn about this in upcoming videos in detail. And all sessions, I'm going to log allowed traffic. It's already by default enable. So I'm going to click OK, and let's see if we are going to access this particular, I mean the internet is reachable from our LAN PCs or not. Let me apply this first, and after applying, if we are going to check our local PCs, still we are getting request timeout. Why? So there is like issue. Why? What is that issue? Basically we created a rule based on user ID, right? So we didn't authenticated anything right now on our LAN PC. So let's try. Let me do one thing. Let me go on like a browser and try to open Google, Might be like ping is not working and Google is reachable. Let's see that. So I'm opening my browser and let me try to access Google here. So while trying to access the Google, see there is a one page connect to network, and with along with that particular page we got another pop-up and another tab where it is asking for authentication required. So we allowed a policy based on our test user one. Here you can see what I'm going to do. I'm going to try with test user 2. Is it working? Test user 2 and the password is 123. See, it's showing the authentication is failed. Let me do one thing. Let me try with test user 2 and the password. Sorry, we have allowed the policy on test user 1 now. So we are going to try with test user 1 and let me try to put the password and let me try to continue this session. And after continuing, if you are going to switch over the Google tab, you can see the internet is already accessible. We are able to open the Google and let's see if we are getting response from Google, global DNS or not. Yes, we are getting response. But what about the other PC, LAN 2? Are we getting response on that particular PC as well? No. Why? Because we have to authenticate the, authenticate with that particular user, and then we can only able to access the internet. So let me show you. Here on LAN 1, we tried to access Google, right? Let me try to access Facebook on our LAN 2 and let's see. Are we going to get the internet with same user ID or do we need a different user ID? So let's see. Yeah, the browser is open. Let me try to access Facebook and let's see what we are getting. See, yes, what it is asking for, it is asking for authentication. Let me try the same thing. Sorry, test user 2. I'm trying with the test user 2 first. See, right now it's asking, it's saying authentication required, and I'm trying with user 2, and what is it is showing? It is showing authentication failed. Why? Because we created a policy based on test user 1. Let me try with that whether we are able to access or not. Test user 1 and the password is going to be 123. Let me continue and see if it is working or not. Yes, it is working and we are able to communicate from two different PCs towards internet with the help of same user, test user 1. Okay, how we can identify like these PCs are like authenticating with the same user from local, LAN to internet. Let me just show you. So for that, to verify the user, just go to the dashboard and there is a section user and devices. And in user and devices, here you will get firewall users options. Okay, just expand that and let's see. Yeah, what is our 10.10.10.10? That is our WinLAN 1, right? Here you can see the IP. And what is our 20.20.20? That is our WinLAN 2 that is present in our 20.20.20.20 subnet. If you are going to see here, let me check. Yes, it is working. Yeah. So both the local systems are connect like have a session and that is like authenticated with test user one only. Okay. So let me do one thing. We can disconnect these particular pieces from here itself. So I'm going to disconnect our PC2. That is our WinLAN to 20.20.20.20. So let me just de-authenticate. Okay, and if you are going to see here for PC2, we will get a request timeout. Why? Because the authenticated, we just like terminated the session which was established with our WinPC2 towards internet with the help of user test user 1. So we just disconnected or terminated that particular session, but still there is a session going on with our 10.10.10.10 PC, and that is our WinLAN 1. Let's see if we are able to access Google or not from here. WinLAN 1, yes, we are able to access. And if you are going to see, still we are getting the response. Let me do one thing. Let me de-authenticate this particular session as well. So just click on that and de-authenticate. Okay. And let me see on WinLAN 1. Yes, we are getting the timeout. So I hope it is clear. Let me do one thing. Let me just change the policy. Okay. And this time what we are going to do, we are going to allow one particular PC, this particular PC with test user 1 and the another particular PC with test user 2. So let's see where is that particular policy and object. Here we are, and just edit this particular policy. What is our task currently? We are going to allow 10.10.10.10 with the help of test user 1 towards internet. So let me do one thing. We are going to allow host 1 to LAN based on test user 1. Okay. So for that, what we need, we have, just let me remove this and add the test user one more time. And this time what we are going to, earlier we allowed all, right? For all source, anything is coming, it is going to be authenticated with test user 1. But what we are going to do right now, this is WinLAN 1 and it has IP 10.10.10.10. So what we can do, we can create a WinLAN 1 like address group or address subnet, and then we can call that particular address subnet here. So for for WinLAN 1, we already have created one host 1 object. So let me call that particular object, and let me rest all things are like distance, destination we don't know where it is going, schedule is always, services is all, action is accepted, and rest all things are going to be okay. So yeah, we allowed this particular WinLAN 1 PC towards internet with the help of test user 1. And why it is specific? Because you can see the source is also called. This is test user 1 is only allowed for 10.10.10.10. So let's see if we are able to reach out to internet or not. Let me just refresh this, continue, and this page is not working. Let me just try to refresh this from here, or might be like there is a cache, that's why it is. Oh, we already get another page. This was the old one. Let me just clean up this, and let's try to access this with test user 1, and the password is going to be 123, and let me enter, continue. So you can see we are already able to access the Google. Let me try to access Facebook. Yes, we are able to access, and the continuous ping again we are getting response from Google DNS. Why? Because we allowed only this PC. Let me just check for other PCs. WinLAN 2. On WinLAN 2, you can see we are getting request timeout. And if I'm trying to refresh this particular page, it is not going to work because we don't have any single policy for this particular host. So let me do one thing. Let me create another PC. Sorry, policy that is going to be host to internet, and that is going to be with test user 2. Okay, so what will be our incoming interface? That is going to be our zone LAN, because it is coming under same. Outgoing interface is going to be our WAN. And what will be the source? So this time we are going to allow our WinLAN 2 PC 20.20.20, and that is going to be on based on test user 2. So we are going to allow test user 2 here, and along with test user 2 we want that particular address for which particular source we are going to allow. So just click on address section, and here you will get host to Mac. I created this is just I'm trying to show we already applied one policy with the help of source IP address. I'm trying to apply another plus policy with source MAC address. Let's see, like along with user, if we are going to call a MAC address for that particular PC, source PC, is it going to work or not? If it is not going to work, we'll change this. We'll just create another host to subnet, address with 20.20.20.20. Okay, so for now, let's see. Destination is going to be all, services is going to be all, and rest all things are looks fine. Let me click OK, and after clicking OK, let me just move on WinLAN 2 and let me try to access once again. So I believe it is working. Let me try to put test user 2 because this time, okay. Let's try with test user 1. Is it working or not? So it's not working. We got authentication failed pop-up. Let me try with test user 2. Is it working or not? 1, 2, 3. Let me continue. And after, let me see. Yeah, it's test user 2. Test user 2, and the password is going to be showing authentication failed. Let me do one thing. Let me edit this particular rule and let me try to allow this particular PC with test user 3, and let's see if it is working or not. Test user 3, and the password is going to be 1, 2, 3, 4. Let me try to access this particular thing from incognito mode. Sometimes the cache is there and it's not working. Google. Okay, and this time we are going to use test user 3 and the password is going to be 1, 2, 3. Why? Why it's not working? Let me do one thing. What we can do? Okay, let me do one thing. Let me just try to allow this particular host based on source address. So host 2, it is going to be 20.20.20.20/32, and it is going to be for any. Let me call this particular and test users 3. We can do one thing. We can go in user definition. We can edit this particular user. Will try to provide password one more time. Let's see. I change the password and this time it should work. So let me try to continue. See, there there might be some issue based on like MAC address. It was not authenticating, but we changed that particular rule. We just apply that particular rule based on source host, so it start working. See, the Google is accessible, and if we are going to see, yes, we are receiving the response. So I believe like you guys are clear how we can create a user based policy, and there could be like multiple things. We can allow that particular source with the help of source host address, like source IP address, or we can allow that particular host with source MAC address. There are multiple things we can apply or change. We can do the things like in policies. So I believe it's clear till now. We'll meet soon with a new topic. Till the time, thank you so much. See you soon. Bye.